Corn, like most crops, is prone to a host of diseases that reduce both yield and quality. This video will discuss the major corn diseases in the Philippines and their management. There are more than 20 corn diseases here in the Philippines. However, we will only focus on 7. According to studies and surveys, these 7 corn diseases are the most destructive and common in the Philippines. The first corn disease that we will talk about is the Philippine downy mildew. Locally, it's known as Alcojeres. Alcojeres was once known as the most destructive corn disease in the Philippines. Corn plants that are infected with Alcojeres have white or yellowish streaks on their leaves. Whitish mycelial growth under the leaf is also present. This symptom usually appears in young corn plants, specifically when they are 10 days to 1 month old after emergence. Corn plants that are severely infected with Alcojeres will become sterile and will eventually die. Alcojeres is caused by a fungus which is mainly carried by wind. The disease can be avoided by planting resistant corn varieties. For corn varieties which are not resistant to Alcojeres, their seeds may also be treated with Apron or Metalaxyl fungicide. The fungicide will protect the corn plant from Alcojeres from emergence to harvesting.
This is done by mixing 6 grams of the chemical in 10 millimeters of water, and then 1 kilogram of seeds will be coated evenly with the chemical mixture.
If the corn plant is already infected with Alcojeres, the best recourse is to pull out and destroy the infected plants. It will prevent secondary spread of the disease. Other corn diseases target the leaves of the corn plant. 2 such diseases are Helmintosporium leaf spot and Helmintosporium leaf blight. In both diseases, grayish tan lesions are seen in the leaves of infected plants. There is essentially no difference between these 2 diseases except for the size of the lesions. If the length of the lesions are relatively short, around ½ an inch to 1½ inches, the plant is said to have Helmintosporium leaf spot. This is also known as southern leaf blight. Helmintosporium leaf spot is common in most humid areas where corn is grown. If the lesions are longer, the corn plant is said to have Helmintosporium leaf blight. This is also known as northern leaf blight. Helmintosporium leaf blight is common in places where the climate is cooler or in places of high elevation such as Bukidnon. Like Alcojeres, the fungus that causes Helmintosporium leaf spot and leaf blight is carried by wind. These diseases can be avoided by using resistant varieties. However, if the corn plant is already infected with Helmintosporium leaf spot and leaf blight, fungicides can be used to kill the fungus that causes these diseases. It should be noted, however, that fungicides are only helpful at the onset of the diseases. Another corn disease that attack the leaves is Rhizoctonia leaf and sheath blight. Corn plants that are infected with this disease have irregular grayish-green blotches in their leaves, sheaths, and ear husks. The fungus that causes Rhizoctonia leaf and sheath blight is soil-borne. Thus, to avoid the disease, deep plowing should be practiced. This will bury and kill the fungus that may cause the disease. Just like with Alcoheres and Helminthosporium leaf spot and leaf blight, fungicides can also be used to kill the fungus that causes Rhizoctonia leaf and sheath blight. There are also corn diseases which cause the rotting of the corn stalk. These diseases are called stalk rots. Stalk rots usually attack plants approaching maturity. They may be caused by either bacteria or fungi. With stalk rots caused by bacteria, the rotting starts at the base of the plant and progresses upwards. Bacterial stalk rots may occur during the vegetative to reproductive stages of the corn plant's growth. In bacterial stalk rots, the leaves of the corn plant eventually dry up. Also, the plant eventually topples over because of the rotting and softening of the stalk. Bacterial stalk rot is usually accompanied by an offensive odor. The bacteria that causes stalk rot lives in the soil. That's why good drainage is very important. The infected plants should also be removed from the plantation to avoid infection of other plants. On the other hand, stalk rots caused by the fungus Diplodia don't show any prior signs of rotting. Corn plants infected with Diplodia stalk rot just suddenly dry up and die. This disease occurs after flowering. Unlike stalk rots caused by bacteria, stalk rots caused by the fungus Diplodia don't topple over. This makes it harder to detect the disease since there is no obvious indications that the stalk is rotting. However, browning at the lower stalk may be seen. This indicates that the inside is rotting. Another way of knowing if the corn plant has Diplodia stalk rot is by splitting the stalk and seeing if it is soft and spongy. You may also find black-brown masses at the stalk nodes. These are the fruiting bodies of Diplodia, which sometimes cluster there. The fungus that causes Diplodia stalk rot is carried by wind, rain, and even insects. Thus, it is important to remove infected plant debris from the plantation and burning them to avoid infecting other plants. Deep plowing is also recommended to bury the fungus that causes Diplodia stalk rot. Besides causing stalk rot, the fungus Diplodia also causes the rotting of the corn ear. This is known as Diplodia ear rot. Corn husks of plants infected with Diplodia appear bleached. The husks and kernels are also pasted together and white mold develops between the kernel rows. If the corn plant is infected within 2 weeks after silking, the entire corn ear turns grayish-brown, shrunken, and completely rotted. To avoid Diplodia ear rot, infected plant debris should be removed from the plantation. Also, make sure that the seeds you planted are not from corn ears infected by the disease. Treatment of the seeds to be planted by a fungicide, such as Captan, may also be done. Crop rotation is also an effective method of control. Alcoheres, Helminthosporium leaf spot and leaf blight, Rhizoctonia banded leaf and sheath blight, bacterial stalk rot, and Diplodia stalk and ear rot occur during the dry and wet season. However, they are more destructive during the wet season. These diseases may occur all over the Philippines, but are more common in Mindanao and Cagayan Valley, since these are the major corn growing areas. The management of corn diseases depend upon the severity of the disease and the stage of corn growth. The action to be taken in managing corn diseases should be based on these two factors. These are the steps to be taken in managing disease before planting, while the corn is planted, and after harvest. It is best that all these activities be done to ensure that the disease is effectively